Hey guys, have you ever wondered what it would be like to ride a bicycle powered by a rocket engine? Well, I didn't just wonder, I built one. It all started with an old gas grill that was past its prime. Instead of scrapping it, I decided to turn it into something insane, a pulse jet engine. This thing is loud, fiery, and totally wild. Stick around to see how I pieced it together, tackled some crazy challenges, and finally took it for a spin. That old gas grill was on its last legs, and I couldn't just let it go to waste. Building a regular grill felt too tame, so I set my sights on something bigger, a pulse jet engine. If you're scratching your head, it's a type of engine that pumps out explosive bursts of power, perfect for a project this nuts. I kicked things off by figuring out the engine's size. I had some old pipes in mind, but then I spotted this massive metal sheet at the steel shop. It was way bigger than I'd planned, but I thought, why not go all out? I grabbed my welding torch, flipped down my mask, and got to work. The sparks started flying everywhere as I fused those heavy sheets together. Rolling that giant sheet into a tube was a workout. It was thick and tough, but I knew it'd be the backbone of my engine. As I fought with the metal, the music's energy mirrored my determination. I could almost hear the engine roaring already. After a lot of sweat, I had my tube. It wasn't flawless, but it worked. Next, I tested its strength with a small explosive charge inside. The boom was unreal. It echoed like a cannon, but the tube held strong. Safety check passed. With the first piece done, I dove into the rest of the engine. It was growing huge, bigger than I'd imagined. I started wondering if I was in over my head, but I was too pumped to stop. The music pulsed as I snapped each part into place. Every bolt tightened brought me closer to firing this thing up. The second half of the pulse jet was ready, and I was blown away by its size. It looked like a prop from a sci-fi flick. I couldn't wait to hear it roar. With both parts nearly done, I added 2 gas tanks and prepped for the first test. We hooked up the gas, and I hit the ignition. Nothing. Dead silence. I tried again. Still nada. Turns out, 2 tanks weren't enough. So, we slapped on 2 more, 4 total, and hauled it to an open field for round 2. This time, it worked. The engine erupted with a sound that shook the ground. I nearly lost my balance from the force, and the heat from the flames was intense. It was thrilling and a little scary. The flames danced and the roar was like a thunderstorm rolling in. My heart was racing. I was over the moon that it finally fired up after all that work. To keep it steady for the next test, I built a solid frame underneath it. I knew this beast needed something tough to hold it together, so I grabbed some steel bars and started welding them into place. The sparks were flying, and I was in the zone until my neighbor, Tom, poked his head over the fence. He's this nosy guy who thinks he's a DIY expert, and he yells, "Hey, that looks like a rocket-powered lawn chair. Where's the wheel?" I cracked up because, honestly, it kinda did look like that at first. So I showed him the wheel I'd slapped underneath. It was this rickety old thing from a junkyard cart, sticking out way too long. Tom goes, "That's a disaster waiting to happen." Still chuckling, I fired up my grinder and shortened that wheel right then and there, metal dust flying everywhere. Tom ducked behind the fence like I'd launched a missile at him. By the time I was done, the frame was rock solid, and that stubby little wheel was perfect, steady as a tank and ready for action. With the engine locked in place, I had a wild idea. Why not make it a grill too? I grabbed a piece from the old grill and set it on the combustion chamber. It heated up fast, perfect for cooking. I tweaked the grill's height for easier access, but it wasn't quick. Too high, so I sawed off brackets. My cousin grabbed one, yelled, "Sword fight!" swung it wild. I laughed, fixed the grill, then swapped the blowtorch starter for a spark plug. It felt more legit that way, like a real engine ignition. I grabbed a spark plug to class up the ignition, attaching it, wires everywhere. My sister walks in, smirks, new car key. I laugh, twist it in, saying, "Wait till it roars." Hooked it up, rocket vibes. The spark plug test was a win. That tiny spark brought the whole beast to life. It was so satisfying. My buddy Mike was there, jaw dropped, and goes, "Did you just wake a dragon?" I grinned and said, "Yep, and it's hungry." That little zap felt like pure magic. I ditched the messy gas controls for sleek copper pipes. It wasn't just functional, it looked sharp too. While welding them with my gas torch, sparks popping, my cat jumped up, swatted at the flame like it was a toy, and bolted. I nearly torched my shoe laughing, but those pipes came out flawless. For the finishing touch, I added a laser-cut plate from a buddy at Albrecht's shop. It gave the engine a pro vibe. With that, my pulse jet grill was done, and I was itching to show it off at a grill party. We found a sweet spot for the party, and I fired it up. The gas flowed, the spark hit, and the engine roared. It was go time. The vibe was electric. Everyone was floored by the power, and the heat was spot on for grilling. In seconds, the grill hit 250 degrees. I'd built it to adjust, loud and fierce or low and chill. It was versatile in a way I hadn't expected. We tossed some sausages on, and they cooked like a dream. What started as a quirky idea turned into a legit grill. I couldn't believe it worked so well. If you've got ideas for what's next, drop them in the comments. Should I turn this into a vehicle? Subscribe so you don't miss it. But hold up, this story's not over. I took that pulse jet and strapped it to a bicycle. Yep, a rocket-powered bicycle.